So I was holding off this video for quite some time, and it is going to be covering the OCG metagame report. Now, this is the metagame that was released on May, but let's take a look. As we can see, Splights, Tier Elements, Exorcisters, Branded Despot, Eldritch, and Flundries are currently the meta with 24.7% other, but Splight is taking up 52.1%. Splight is one of those decks that can be ran pure, adventure, evil twin, grass, and people are in the pure running frogs. For tier limits, a new deck out of the Power of the Elements set, you can combine it with things like Branded, or Fossil, or 60 card grass lists, or even pure. Exorcisters, you could run pure or Dynamorphia. Branded is playing tier element, so this is really should be up with the other tier elements, Adventure, Branded, and grass. But I want to talk about the lists that are Splight. So we had someone who went 5-1-2 and ended up 3rd and 4th at the Hagataka Championship 3v3 tournament, which had 138 participants. As Splight is the deck to beat in the current format, more Splight decks are now tuning for mirror matches. One of the side deck strategies is using deck dev and running Codebreaker Virus Swordsman in the extra deck as an activation cost. But the bulk of the monsters and Splights are below 1500 attack. Deck devastation could be effectively wipe out the opponent's hand. It allows for playing through the opponent's max C, when then destroying their advantage cards during the draw phase. However, there's always a chance that the opponent could draw things like Red Reboot. So let's get into it. So this is one of the current lists for Splight. This is Frog Splight. They're running 3 Swap Frog, 1 Dupe, and 1 Rontone, along with 3 Deep Sea Diva as a normal summonable extender, because you normal summon it, activate the effect. If it gets negated, you just summon out a Splight from hand. Then you go into either Elf or Gigantic Splight, most likely Gigantic Splight at that point. Now, Splight is going to be a deck that I am anticipating for, because how much of a power scale it really is. It is very easy and simple. I've covered the deck before, so there are a lot of techs that you can do. I'm more interested in the side deck because, as we can see, there's 3 deck devastation virus just for the code breaker. But other than that, this is really how standard the deck will be. Now, what do I see OCG doing about the deck? Maybe hitting Swap Frog or Deep Sea Diva, because they are 1-card starters. But I still don't know what they could do about that. But we also do have someone else who went 7-1 and finished first place at the same championship. And he's running 3 Dark Beckoning Beast and 1 Gate, as it's the alternative version of Deep Sea Diva. So the combos: normal summon Dark Beckoning Beast, get the Gate, activate Gate, get another Dark Beckoning Beast, and then do the additional normal summon. So you can go into things like Number 65, which is actually a very nice tech. You also have Solemn Warning and Solemn Judgment in the side deck. The main purpose is to make it the summon of the first level 2 monsters, so that Splight monsters in the opponent's hands cannot be special summoned. Solemn Judgment is a heftier activation cost, but it comes with flexibility, and also being able to negate things like Dark World No More and Ardent Slay. So as we can see, this is the other, and like, it's a 4-card main deck engine, so it's just another way to get to the additional summons if needed. But let's go into the side deck real quick, and as we can see, we have the Ardent Slays, along with Solemn Judgment. But in all honesty, I can't really comment on this one because it's absolutely the same, but with a different engine. It's the exact same deck. But as we can see, they're running the Evil Twin Link for Trouble Sunny along with the level 8. Now we have tier limits. We had someone who went 7-1 at the Osaka Cup, which is first place at it with 162 participants. Now tier limits is another new theme out of Power of the Elements, and tier limits are just a fusion deck that pretty much is a Lubellion on steroids. So as we can see, this is the branded version, running branded fusion along with fusion deployment, because that gets to your Reno Heart. It's just extra copies of Reno Hearts, and you don't care about the restriction because you're fusion summoning anyways. And I've covered this deck before a few days ago, and it looks like they're heavy set on playing Albia Renatus along with things like the Mirror Jade, Wenda, and 3 Dracostapelia. So if you don't have those now, I definitely recommend them. And this is the very one of the many lists that there are for tier limits, because you have the pure, you have the branded, and you have a few others running around. But for conclusion, Splights continue to dominate the metagame, taking an overwhelming lead. Coming is the next tier limit, but they're only 1/6 of a Splight. DD Crow is seeing more play in the main deck and side deck. Against Splight, DD Crow would use to banish Rodentone to stop the opponent from going into Totally Awesome. Against tier limit, it stops tier limit Slaylene, tier limits Hafunis, and Miru, which is graveyard activated, since the tier limit monster has to shuffle itself back into the deck as a fusion material. Banishing it from the graveyard would stop the fusion summon. So DD Crow, Ghost Ogre are 2 of the hand traps that you really want to get now, because it hard counter Splights for those 2. But I want to know what you guys think about the OCG meta right now and how it would be over here. In my opinion, I see Splights being about a good amount of representation, but I see tier elements doing a bit more because of how much stun there is. But anyways, I've been Bolt Spider. See you guys in the next video, and goodbye.